Good morning and welcome to meeting number 8 of the 90-Day Breakthrough Challenge. My name is Dr. Mogire from the House of Mastery. We've been here now. Today is day 52. Day number 52. We are well past half of this challenge, and soon we will be at day 70, day 80, and finally day 90. And hopefully you will notice the areas where you have gotten breakthrough in your life. I want us to first of all quickly review this because this is a foundation. What we will speak about today is one of the pillars of the Breakthrough Challenge. One of the shifts after you have accepted the shift that you don't need to leave your comfort zone. You just need to start acting bigger, being more intentional within your comfort zone so that it can expand and expand your identity. Once that is very clear, once it's also clear that your breakthrough, your success depends on the big things you're doing, but also on the foundational things, your supporting actors. When those ingredients are very, very clear, and knowing that your breakthrough has elements which are inescapable, and those elements are these 7 that you need to raise your awareness. You need to learn what you need to learn in whatever area you want to get breakthrough in. And after you are aware and you've learned, after you know better, you change. In other words, you are willing to do better, and you translate that willingness into actions, and you anticipate obstacles. Therefore, you practice resilience. And as you make progress, as you take action, as you make changes, as you persist, you reflect to see where the gaps are. To what extent are you carrying forward your awareness, your learning, your change, your action? And of course, all these things can be very difficult, especially during times when you don't necessarily feel like it. Accountability keeps you on track. Accountability keeps you true. Accountability makes sure that you don't let yourself off the hook easily. This is a foundation, especially for those of you who have already gotten the Shift Your Mindset book, Embody. You know that each of the daily intentionality commitments follow a similar pattern. Some of them are tailored to the chapter that you're working on, but this is a crucial pillar. Awareness, what do you need to notice? What do you need to perceive? Learning, what are your gaps? What are your gaps in terms of what you need to read, what you need to think about, what you need to train yourself to experience, to do, to perceive the change? Which ways do you need to start showing up differently to improve your awareness, improve your learning, and improve the other ingredients? Action. To what extent are you actually doing rather than trying, especially in the important things? Resilience, reflection, and accountability. We could talk about this all by itself, week after week for 10 months, and we will not be done. Because the real truth, the real test of it is whether or not we are applying it in our day-to-day life. Awareness, learning, change, action. And when you take action, you anticipate obstacles, resilience to keep you going. And once you have all these 5, and then of course you reflect so that you can raise each of them to the next level, and you work with accountability. The Breakthrough Challenge gives you easy accountability, a group of people who are pursuing the same thing like you are pursuing, with whom you walk towards this journey of breakthrough, breaking through emotionally, breaking through financially, breaking through physically, breaking through in just simply being able to be consistent with your supporting actors, sleeping on time, hydrating, eating healthy food. When you sleep, you plan to sleep on time and wake up on time. It's simple things like movement, beginning to just go up 2 stairs, two flights of stairs every day you go to work. Even if there's an elevator and you're going to the 18th floor, you go up to 16th floor. And then the remaining 2, you go by stairs. Next time you go 4 floors. So that you utilize those simple opportunities. The supporting actors become as well trained as possible, so that when you put a big actor amongst the supporting actors, you're able to produce a movie that is worthwhile. So this is the implementation strategy for everything. So that what we talk about today should not create confusion that this is something removed. How these things fit together is that what we will talk about today determines what level you operate at most of the time. And whatever level you operate at, you need awareness, learning, change, action, resilience, reflection, and accountability. The level that you are on can be high or it can be low. It can be all the four that I spoke about in the audio. But at each of those levels, you need a certain level of action, a certain level of awareness, a certain level of accountability. Of course, the deeper you are, the higher the level you operate from, the higher the level of accountability you need, because you will be facing real tough obstacles. You will be requiring for you to change in significant ways. So this is the implementation. This is a roadmap that you can use every single day. And so we'll now switch our attention to what I spoke about in the audio. These 4 levels of breakthrough. Implementation being at the lowest level, unification, communication, and imagination. If I asked you how much you have earned month by month over the last 5 years, and you gave me a figure, without asking any further questions, I can tell you what level you are operating at. If you're earning anything between 40 and 120 most of the time, if you is maybe 40 to, let's say, to 200,000 Kenyan shillings, you're probably at the level of unification. If you're earning anything from 5,000 all the way to 70,000, that range, there's a good chance that you are probably at the level of implementation. There's a line that is between unification and communication. You do not begin to become financially free, financially stable, until you cross the line that is between unification and communication. If you tell me that you are earning anything between 150 to 500,000 Kenyan shillings a month, I know that your work entails a significant component of communication, probably earning even up to 1 million a month. And if you are consistently earning more than 1 million a month, your job is, you might not perform it at the level of imagination, but your job is designed to operate at the level of imagination, where you are past unification, which is management. You are past articulation of vision, articulation of direction, articulation of strategy. You are at the point of originating the strategy, of reading the market and figuring out what the trends are. If you told me what you have been earning over the last 5 years, and particularly what the trend has been, I will tell you whether you are stuck within one level or you're probably ping-ponging between 2 levels. And the goal is to make the next higher level that is available to you your new normal. And how do you make that possible? You exhaust everything that is at the level where you are. If you are at the level of implementation, you exhaust that space, you fill that space, you implement so well that your fellow implementers need your leadership. So you automatically become a unifier. You unify so well, you unify in such a way that other unifiers need you to help them. You become the communicator in the group. You communicate so well that the other communicators send you to the source of the vision, the source of the dream. And when you get to the level of imagination, you are able to operate at all the other levels. You can implement, you can unify, you can communicate, but you are doing something extremely valuable. Now, one of the mistakes we make is this misconception that we are remunerated, we are compensated for the amount of value that we bring to the market. That's probably one of the most misleading misconceptions. And this is something I wish I had learned when I was in school, high school, or even just university. You are not compensated for, you are compensated for the value you bring, but it's not the amount of the value you bring. It is the level of value you bring. If people were compensated for the amount of value we bring, this last couple of weeks I was traveling and I stayed at several hotels. at each of the hotels that I slept at, the most hardworking, the people who bring the most amount in terms of quantity, amount of value, are the cleaners in the hotels. In terms of volume, nobody comes close to how much they do. But all these cleaners together earn what the CEO of the hotel earns, and yet the CEO of the hotel does not bring even a tenth of the volume that they bring. But because the CEO is bringing value at a higher level, the amount doesn't matter. The amount doesn't matter. It's like when you look at a tree, for example, one person can bring you 10 sacks of leaves, and somebody else brings you a seed. Each of these have their own value. One is obviously more in terms of volume, but there's this slightly tiny little thing here that is a seed in which we can't tell how many trees there are. We can't tell how many forests this little seed is able to produce. We can't tell how many fruits that this seed is able to produce. You are not compensated for the amount of value you bring. You are compensated for the level of value you bring. What you do at the level of implementation, no matter how much it is, it requires two things. Most of implementation requires muscle and time. You can only have so much muscle. You can only have so much time. When you move to the next level, which is unification, unification is about management. Unification is about acumen. And acumen is the ability to recognize the available ingredients and put them together in a way that they can work. It's you might not be able to explain what they are. You might not be able to inspire other people to do it, but you can pull them together and make them work. At the level of communication, you are able to articulate and make people see what they couldn't see. At the level of imagination, you're able to create what people can then see. Imagination is at the level of the mind. Vision is at the level of spiritual eyes. So before the eyes can see it, it has to be created. It's created at the level of imagination. That is why imagination, operating at the level of imagination automatically positions, as long as you're able to lock into the level of imagination, automatically positions you to be financially stable without doubt, to fulfill your dream, which is one thing, fulfilling your dream, which is about you, but the higher achievement that comes with living and operating at the level of imagination is fulfilling your destiny. And those are two different things. Living your dream. I am living my dream right now. I'm living my dream. I dreamt that I want to become a cardiologist. I'm living my dream, but I am yet to fulfill my destiny. Because my dream is about reaching the highest level that I perceived. And from here going forward, I'm probably going to dream a different dream. Reaching the highest level that you have dreamt, that is live, and of course, reaching there and operating at that level, you're living your dream. But your destiny is about the lives you touch, the legacy you leave behind. Your destiny is not fulfilled until there is succession. There is no succession at the level of implementation. When you come and clean that house, you clean the house, you walk away, tomorrow somebody else has to come and clean that house, because implementation is about repetition. Management, which is unification, is about iteration. We cleaned the houses yesterday. Today, I want you to clean these houses slightly differently. Communication is about clarification. When we clean houses like this is what it means for us. This is what it means for where we are going. Imagination is about origination, where everything else that is going to go down, further down the line, becomes impacted by what has been originated. So at the level of implementation, what you do, if you move the couch from one side of the house to the other, somebody coming tomorrow has to do the same thing, right? At the level of unification, you are overseeing the movement, the cleaning, so that still cannot, it has no succession within it. Communication has a little bit of succession, where, for example, some authors such as Stephen Covey or maybe John C. Maxwell, long after they are gone, a lot of what they communicated is going to be here. Some of the significant speeches from the past are going to be here. The Bible and all spiritual texts are founded on communication, quality communication that was documented, such that if you write a book today and that book is successful, your grandchildren and great-grandchildren might be earning loyalties from that book, from that one book. You might not read it yourself because you are not paid. You are not paid for reading the book. You are paid because you wrote the book and your generation. So it leaves behind value that can be carried forward through succession. But at the highest level, all the companies that you see in the world that continue to thrive, the Coca-Colas of these worlds, all the big companies, it's because they originated at the level of imagination. Somebody created it at the level of imagination. There's a verse in the Bible that I want us to look at, and I always clarify that I use the Bible because I'm a Christian. If you don't have similar beliefs, use the text that you see as a story. Just focus on what does it say and what principle are we trying to learn from it. Genesis chapter 11, verse 6, where this is about the Babylonian tower. And so I want you to pay attention to, because this is packed with a lot of value in it. God himself saying, behold, these people are one. And what is that? That's unification. These people are one. It's not just one person working. It is these people that have come together. And they have one language. That is communication. They have one language. And they are doing. So each of them is implementing. So all these four levels, you see all these four levels being fulfilled. But none of those first three things concerned God. None of those things concerned him, that they are unification, that they have one language communication, that they are doing, they have started doing. None of those. But the final thing, now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. In other words, if this verse only had the first three, you wouldn't have to worry about them. Oh, they are unified, they are communicating, and they are implementing. All right. But once they imagine, then nothing can be restrained from them. The power of your breakthrough lies in the next higher level from where you are, but true, unstoppable, authentic power lies at the level of imagination. The question is, what is your gap between where you are to the level of imagination? God himself says that nothing will be restrained from them. Nothing will be restrained from you, which you have imagined to do. And this is the reason to be aware about this is because, unfortunately, we use our imagination in the negative direction more often than not. Every single time you procrastinate, you have to imagine, you have to create the image, creation of the image of procrastination, where you create the image, you accept it, everything else follows. Where you, for example, you have an appointment and maybe with friends and you don't feel like it. And once that image clicks in your mind, when you see yourself not going, and it happens in a flash of a second, once you see yourself not going, you have already imagined, and nothing will restrain you from achieving what you have imagined. The level of imagination is the deepest level. All the true lasting breakthroughs, all breakthroughs that cause total life transformations happen at the level of imagination. I do not want to say much more than that. I'm going to end the exposition segment at that point, and we can reflect briefly before we do some hot seats. I hope for those of you who particularly were able to listen to the audio I shared, I will tell you without a doubt, this is one of the most profound things that we will have talked about in the Breakthrough Challenge. And I need you to pay real attention to this. I need you to pay attention to this. I need you to actually reflect on this, to journal about this, to observe this. If there is an area to self-observe, it's at this area. It will be very easy for you to figure out what level you are at by some of the pointers I've given. If it's not clear, this is something that we will probably revisit once again. But most importantly, self-observe your language, self-observe your mental images, self-observe your inclinations. To what level are you tending to move towards? Especially if you run a business, and you find yourself dropping down to micromanagement, to unification level, it means you are far removed from imagination, because you are always at one level and you tend to head more in one direction. If you're at unification, you tend either to reach for communication or to reach for implementation. If you're at implementation, the best is you reach up to unification. If you are at communication, you can be at communication, but you are mostly describing what you see below. You're describing what you see around you instead of perceiving, receiving, and communicating what is not yet available, what is not yet possible, what is being created, what is emerging. And of course, when you are at the level of imagination, now it's your task, it's your challenge to be as deep as possible, as perceptive as possible, to bring to reality things that, as the Bible says, that no eye has seen and no ear has heard, nor has it entered the imagination. And that's because if everything rises and falls on the quality of imagination. We're going to have a quick round of reflection based on what we've spoken about. Oh my, I need you to, of everything that we've spoken about recently, I need you to actually think about this very intentionally. All right, let's get some reflections. Could I see some people stretch? If you're on camera, I need to see you stretch. Nyathi Wamondi, I don't know whether you are back to Kenya or you're still in Lusaka, or now you're coming to us from Pakistan. I can't trust you. You can go anywhere. All right. I'm going to just have a couple of people. Any volunteers to reflect? We need to move quickly. Any volunteers? Could we have more people on video, please? We have less than half of people on video. Let's have more people on video. Any volunteers? At the count of 3, I will create spontaneous volunteers that are triggered by me. At the count of 3, 2, 1. Wangoi.
Okay, so
Okay, all right. After that, we'll go with Wangoi. Wangoi volunteered spontaneously, but before
okay, let's start with Wangoi.
No, let's go with Fanny.
Let's start with Wangoi. Okay. For me, the discussion you had on the second part of implementation, unification, communication, and imagination was quite profound, and it's something I'm going to keep reflecting, and so that my aim, of course, is to be at the imagination. I'm not yet there, but I feel and I believe that I'm able to reach there, and it just needs work and commitment to actually be there. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Fanny.
Yeah. Yes, good morning, everybody. Good evening, Doc. This is really, really profound. My mind has just been imagining even right now. And this brings me to one of the sessions that you gave where did we lose it? Because I know as young ladies, young children, our minds were really imaginative and we could really create. Then along the path of life, we lost the imagination. I mean, things happened, tragedies and so many things that we lost. We felt we could not bring our imaginations to life. And we used to cast them aside saying, okay, rather I used to cast them aside saying, no, this is just an imagination. This is the reality. These are facts. You know what I'm seeing? But of late now, and I've realized that now with the training and resetting of mind, I'm starting to slowly get back my imagination daily by even the visualization in terms of in the morning before I wake up, I really visualize my day. Because when I do that, then I've already told my brain, this is the way you want to go. And I found that it is really working. And that's the basis of how I'm able to reset my day. So visualization for me has become very important. I'm starting through daily visualization. But I'm also now trying to think now long term. Instead of, okay, Wangui, what did you really want to, before everything else happened, what is it that you wanted out of life? Yeah. And I'm trying to bring back that imagination to supersede the obstacles that have made me not imagine, because I had been in a place where I was now imagining negative things. My negativity was more than my positivity, and those images could come into my mind. But now it's a mind reset and telling myself, you know what, if I can do the daily imaginations and set my visualization per day, that I know in the morning when I wake up, this is how I want the day to run, then I can be able to do that for the week, for the month, and for the year. And now slowly by slowly, I'm actually now doing that. As far as the level I'm looking at, I'm oscillating between implementation and I've not yet reached the imagination level. Implementation, unification, when it's very good, I'm at communication level, because also of the area of my career, what I'm doing in my career. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Wangui. That's a wonderful reflection. It's if I could clarify and that's important to differentiate that your role does not place you in communication. I don't know how to share it so that it's straightforward. Your role does not put you in communication. You can be a banker who sits in the cubicle, right? But you are at the level of communication. You're operating from the level of communication. It's the level of communication is primarily about perception. How much are you able to perceive? Can you notice, can you read the trends that are going on? The reality is that most leaders, even corporate leaders that we have, they don't operate from the level of imagination. Most of them operate from the level of communication, where they can describe what they see, but they cannot originate. They can copy strategies from their competitors, but they cannot originate the original strategies, original solutions. So someone like Michael Joseph of Safaricom, now that's someone who was operating beyond communication. He not only perceived the peculiarity of Kenyans being willing to borrow money even when they don't have to borrow money, right? But he was able to actually originate a solution that changed everything. Without Michael Joseph, there would not be M-Pesa. And it's not because he originated M-Pesa. That's because he was able to perceive an idea when it was presented to him by two little boys, to see value beyond the surface. Otherwise, he would have killed it. How many companies have killed ideas that would have been multi-billion businesses, right? So it's the beauty with this just 4 levels. You just need to know what level you are at, and like I told you, just look at how much revenue you're getting in every month. If you're operating below $1 million, you know that you're not at the level of imagination, because that is an aspirational level. That's a level that I aspire to get to. That's where we want to get to. And if you all remember the 6 layers that we usually speak about, the level of the environment at the outermost, followed by behavior, followed by capacity, followed by beliefs, followed by identity, and then, of course, at the center is spiritual. When you begin to operate from the level of imagination, you are definitely out of all those outer four layers. You're not operating from environment, behavior, capacity, or even beliefs. And if you're operating at beliefs, it's the core beliefs, not the surface beliefs. You are at the level of identity, securely facing inward to origin, to core, to source, to purpose, at the very center. When you get to the level of imagination, you are not just living your dream. You are reaching in or higher or deeper to fulfill your destiny. You are doing things that go beyond your time, they go beyond your means, and they go beyond your years. You are making decisions that go beyond your time, that it's clear that what you are doing is going to have impact beyond your time, beyond your years here. You are making steps that require resources that are beyond your means. So you need provision from around you and provision from above you to be able to make what you see at the level of imagination a reality. And of course, your means, your skills, your capacity, when you begin to step into the level of imagination, you cannot do it on your own. You don't even need, it's not just a team you need. It's like an army of sorts, people with whom you connect at such a high level. Here is the reality that for you and I, some of the time, not even some of the time, all the time that we find ourselves giving up on our goals or procrastinating or operating at a level lower than, doing less than we are capable of, it's because we are solving problems that are not big enough, that don't have big enough impact to pull the best out of us. I play chess, and I used to be really, really good for the people around me, such that every time I played them, I beat all of them. So I didn't have to, when we start playing, I don't really have to stretch. But then one of these fine days, I would walk into somebody who was really, really good, and they would bring out of me strategies in playing chess that I didn't even know I had learned, right? So the level you're operating at, amount of resources and skill and talent and passion and commitment and consistency that you're portraying is determined by what kind of problems you are solving. If you want your life to go to a higher level, start solving bigger problems. Everything will change. You start solving bigger problems, some of your smaller problems come into perspective. Suddenly, the traffic jam is not something important enough for you to even comment about as you go to work, because your mind is occupied by something bigger, something that is beyond your means, beyond your years, beyond your time, beyond your resources. That's something that calls you to stretch higher because you're dealing with something more significant. Could I get one more person? And then we'll go to. So I thank Fanis and Wangui for sharing. I met Wangui during the book launch. Yes, I met so many of you. I met Mugwe and Shalene. You guys walked in together and you looked exactly the same as you do here. I was like, am I on Zoom or am I live? I met Florence. I met Sylvia, the lady with the vertical screen. I haven't seen her today. Yeah, it was amazing. Who else? I met Shiro at the book launch. It was amazing. Isabel, I haven't seen her here today. One more volunteer, and at the count of 3, that.
I'm here.
All right, Isabel. Oh, yes, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Isabel, who also speaks Portuguese. No, Portuguese, not Portuguese.
Portuguese, it's okay, Portuguese.
Go ahead.
Okay, yes, I think that everything that you keep on giving to us is profound. It's like you already know all of us, you know, all the challenge that we are passing through, and you bring it into position, you know. We have many things that are spreading in our mind or in our imagination, but you bring all to into alignment. So I can say that for me, I see myself that I'm still in the position of implementation and unification. There are sometimes something that I see, one of my dreams is to reach a communication, because you are talking about something that is written, something that will go beyond, like writing a book. So it's something that I imagine, or I would like to do. What I can say is that I'll go again and listen again to the audio so that I can put my ideas online. That's what I can say.
Thank you.
For now.
That's
Yeah.
That's a beautiful reflection. Isabel, you have a way of reflecting that I can tell that what you're saying is not just coming from your mind. It's like you pouring yourself when every time you reflect. And I appreciate that. So communication. So this is maybe to add additional clarification. One of the easiest ways to figure out whether you are operating at the level of communication is to ask the question, am I offering a solution that I don't have to? Am I offering solutions that I don't have to? If you're offering solutions that you have to, you are unifying. If you are organizing the cleaners to make sure that they clean, you are unifying the cleaners to clean, right? Right. But if you are helping the company to prepare for an upcoming crisis which nobody else is concerned about, then you are operating at the level of communication, especially when you run your own business. This is extremely crucial. And one of the simplest strategies that I would recommend to all of you, one of the simplest and probably one of the most powerful things I would recommend to all of you, pick the main goal that you're working on this season. Pick that main goal and make this your own assignment. And over this weekend, sit down and write 100 things that you could do that would take this business to the next level, this goal to the next level. And the goal is not for you for you to act on what comes up in the first 30 items. It's for you to see what comes beyond item 30 going forward. And the goal is to keep writing. You won't complete it in one sitting. You just need to keep coming back to it. Keep coming back to it. What else? So initially you'll be like, what could I do? What can I do? What might I do? But the answers that will blow your mind away will come from what else? What else? What else? Until you get stuck. All the growth, all the new perspectives, the next level of your awareness, your willingness to change, your willingness to learn, your willingness to act with a more targeted and deeper mental presence, your willingness to be resilient, they will all be powered by the answers that come to you from 50 onwards. If you persist that long and you begin getting some ideas that are the response to what else, because what should we do today is unification. The easy answers come like this. But what else? You're offering solutions that you don't have to. You're offering solutions that cost you your attention. They cost you your thinking. They cost you discomfort for you to bring them. When you sit there with a paper and you have 40 items, if you're lucky, you have 40 items, and you are seated there like a madman or mad woman. You're like, what else? And nothing is coming. You stick with it. Stick with it. And even if it takes you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you keep coming back to that list. In there, right in there, there will be ideas that will automatically, if you begin working on those ideas, there will be ideas that will automatically take you to the level of communication and beyond. And that's one of the easiest ways to know that what you are doing, whatever idea is going to push you, is just those three things I mentioned, and there are many more that you could mention. Does it require resources beyond what you have? Does it span over a timeline beyond you? It's that stretch. In other words, does it require something that probably lies beyond your comfort zone? Now, you don't start beating yourself because what is required is outside your comfort zone. You first start implementing everything you can within the comfort zone. Then you will automatically start stretching, and you can reach what's outside your comfort zone. We glorify the dream so much. We glorify the dream, like, I want to live my dream. But I think the beauty of life does not lie in the dream. The dream is the destination. The purpose of the dream is to put you on a pathway. That's the purpose of the dream. The purpose of the pathway is to grow you and train you and prepare you. If you think of Joseph of the Bible, right? Joseph had a dream. He shared the dream with his brothers. And his brothers put him on a pathway. His brothers literally put him on a pathway. They put him into the hands of some foreigners who took him far, far away. And he ended up going through all kinds of tests, being thrown into prison, being tempted by his master's wife. You know, that was his pathway. The dream puts you on a pathway. The dream asks you to make sacrifices. If you have a dream of having a strong body, the dream puts you in the pathway of going to the gym. And going to the gym becomes your pathway. What's the purpose of the pathway? To train you, to prepare you, to test you, to prove that you are willing to persist through it. The dream puts you on the pathway leads you to your destiny. Because once the pathway trains you, then you are ready to fulfill your destiny. And fulfilling your destiny means touching other people. So the dream requires you to rise to the level of imagination by itself. And you keep reaching it and dropping down. Now, you reach the level of imagination, but it doesn't mean you leave the other levels. Think about God. God said, let us create. God said, let us create, and this is what I shared in the audio. We are hearing God say, let us create, but that is the second stage. If it was not recorded, we would never have known that God had actually intended to create. So, has already created, because he's communicating and saying, let us create in our image, which means the image already exists, which means the image has already been originated. So that's the level of imagination, and then there's that communication. Let us create, and the us is the unification. It's like it's not just, it's all the components that create the Godhead that is being involved in the creation. And then finally, there is the actual hands touching soil and squeezing man out. That's the level of implementation. So it doesn't mean that when you go to communication, you leave implementation. No, implementation is your comfort zone. You are always implementing. You are part of the implementation. So you're operating at all these levels, but you just don't want to be limited at one level. You want to be able to rise as high as you can. I am surprised we've almost spent an hour on this, but this is one thing that we can spend 3 days. We can do a 3-day workshop on just this. 3-day workshop where you actually come with your past dreams, not present ones. Day one, we just do work on your past dreams, and you figure out all the patterns that kept you behind. Where if you wrote a movie, you would be the last person who would want to watch the movie, because you'll be like, no, don't procrastinate, but you procrastinated. No, wake up, don't snooze, but you snoozed. No, go to the gym. But we could spend days just talking about this. I'm going to give one more chance to anyone, if someone wants to contribute. At the count of 3, 2, 1, 0. Now let's go to the chat box, everyone, including those who are not on video. Go to the chat box. Let's share really quickly. What is the single, because we won't be able to hear from everyone. Everybody, please go to the chat box. And what is the biggest, what is your biggest insight from this segment that we've just shared? What's your biggest insight? Then from there, we'll do some hot seat. So James, please be connecting the hot seat to electricity and turn it on so that it's ready. Chat box, everyone. I don't see any activity in the chat box before we jump into coaching. Oh, I didn't clarify. It's so the chat box is, if you look at it, usually that nothing happens, but if you type in it, something. I'm sorry. I need to withdraw that. I need to withdraw that. Who else? I see Hylene Mora has joined us. I met Hylene in Nairobi. She was dropped by her security. I don't know whether her security came to pick her later, but I did meet her. Yes. Okay, let's see what we have here. It's I'm taking time on this because we would rather just spend all the time we have today on this and guys, I'm just seeing two responses. The power of breakthrough lies at the level of imagination. So the power lies, let me clarify that. So the power lies, it's the highest power lies at imagination, but moving from one level to the next is breakthrough. Becoming more effective at the level you're at is breakthrough. So breakthrough is possible in many ways, just that the deepest, the highest, the most unstoppable is at the level of imagination. But you can get breakthrough within just implementation. If you begin to implement consistently without distraction, without procrastination, that becomes a breakthrough by itself. Because breakthrough is about expansion. It's about improvement within where you are. Just filling your comfort zone with enough water so that it can start overflowing. So we do not wait until we get to imagination, then we say, oh, I have breakthrough. Breakthrough is possible at every level. And sometimes it's possible with even very simple ideas. All right, let's see what we have here. So that's the first one. If you start solving bigger problems, most of the small ones disappear. They may not necessarily disappear, but they fall into their rightful perspective. They become truly small. When you are standing right next to a big tree and you're looking at the big tree, you don't see anything else. The tree is actually literally covering your face, right? But if you move away and actually look at the forest, that one tree is no longer a problem. It no longer occludes your vision, right? It's every single time you see somebody become frustrated in traffic jam, you just know solving small problems. It's that easy, unfortunately. If someone is trying to work on a business to earn 3 million a month, right? How they respond to simple frustrations is very different because they are beyond dealing with frustration. Frustrations are sent to the level of unification and implementation. That's where they are sent to, because it's frustrations brought to the level of communication are contaminations. I don't know what else to say. They are operating from the highest level of imagination in the long run leaves behind a legacy. Absolutely. Thank you, Shalene. That's very, yeah. It's so legacy so today I would like you to perceive legacy from those two perspectives. Legacy is about living your dream, but that's just you, and fulfilling your destiny, which is about affecting other people's lives. And fulfilling your destiny always requires resources beyond you. It requires other people, hands beyond you. It extends beyond to a time that is beyond you. So fulfilling your destiny requires that you must at least touch some component of imagination the story that I share in the chapter on legacy about Reverend Jeremiah Awori. He was planting churches, and you can imagine planting churches. He had to walk from place to place. There were no roads back then, right? It's being able to do things that go beyond your time, which is the fulfillment of your destiny. Am I offering solutions that I don't have to? Betty, that's a really powerful question. It's a simple but powerful question. Moses, I think your microphone is on. Unless you want to contribute something, I'll give you a moment to. Am I offering solutions that I don't have to? This is a crucial question. Please take the assignment I suggested seriously and do it. Let's see who is next. Now you have given me so many answers that they keep jumping this thing. All right, the next one is that one may be stuck in one of the levels. It takes more effort to get to the next level. Yeah, it's just think of the level you are at as your potential comfort zone. You cannot break through to the next level until you are actually utilizing and doing everything that you can within this level. So you improve your effectiveness, your consistency, your persistence, your resilience within the level you are, so that then naturally that breaks you to the next level. But of course, you have to deliberately also seek to look up beyond the level, whatever level you are at. I choose change to be my key goal. Commitment for intentionality. Yes, change is stacked on awareness and learning. Change is stacked on awareness and learning. Without awareness and learning, sometimes we change, but we change the wrong thing. When the county governments came into power, one of the things that was changed across the country were the hospitals. But do you know what was changed? It's the gates and curtains. So that was change, right? Change the gates. The hospitals have beautiful gates, and some of them had new curtains. Some of them had wheelbarrows that were costing 140,000 a wheelbarrow. You know, the wheelbarrows that can actually type hashtags. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to get serious today. But you get what I'm saying. Changing on a superficial level, changing the paint, the color of the paint that is on the walls. So change is stacked, true change is stacked on awareness and learning. And change is only proven when there is action. It's like somebody apologizing to you and then doing exactly the same thing that they did yesterday. So they have not changed. You only prove that they have changed when they can say, I am so sorry that I did X, Y, and Z, which means that they have reflected and they are aware without you telling them what they did, and that they are changing, and the change is proven by actions. If there are no actions, it doesn't matter what you've learned. It doesn't matter what you are aware of. It doesn't matter what you want to change. If there's no action, it is just empty talk. It's about the level of value that I bring, not the amount of value. That is one of the single most important distinctions that I hope everybody takes. It is not the amount of value that you bring. It's the level of value that you bring. I work in a hospital right now where we get from our department as cardiology, we get consulted to go see patients. We come in and see the patient for 20 minutes, but the other team, the team that has the patient, has had the patient the whole day. When we bill, they will bill for 6 hours, an equivalent of what we would bill for 30 minutes. In other words, it's not the 6 hours that count. At the end of the day, is at what level of value are we bringing in? If a patient goes to the cath lab and gets a stent put in the heart because of a blockage, it takes probably like 20 minutes thereabout, but it's compensated like maybe 10 times more than what somebody would do in the ward. It's not where you are the day you will have the most significant impact, it's not going to depend on how long you spend there. There's a story that usually circulates where somebody, an engineer came to repair a machine, and it took him 2-3 minutes. He just came and touched somewhere and the machine turned on, and he billed them $10,000. And they were like, $10,000 for just touching this? Then he said, it's okay, let me rebuild it. And then he wrote it afresh. It's like, for touching the button, $1. For knowing what button to touch, $9,999. Right? The knowing, the value is not in the touching. The touching is the implementation. It is in the knowing. So this is, I don't know how to please write this, everybody write this somewhere, especially when you do your reflections. Just make sure you type it in there so that we all see it again and again. It is not the amount of value. If it was the amount of value, the cleaners in every institution will be the highest paid people. The cleaners. Sylvia, you run a business. You would be paying the person who cleans your house or cleans the facilities you manage. You'll be paying them the most amount of money, but you don't. They are not the people you pay the most, because it's not the amount of value. The day I learned that, it changed everything. It's you guys paid for this program, right? You paid for this program, and I was clear to limit the size of class that I was taking up. Do you believe if I had wanted to recruit a class of 100, do you believe that I could actually have recruited a class of 100? Right? If I had intended to if I just want a class for the sake of a class, just 150 people in there. And if I wanted to run 3 classes at the same time, 3 breakthrough classes, maybe I can actually run the breakthrough classes. I'm saying that because I'm just trying to show you that when we are doing this kind of work here, this is the kind of work you can leverage, where I may not be operating at the level of imagination, but I'm definitely communicating. I'm definitely operating at the level of communication. If I fail from the level of communication, then I probably would be here finding another coach to come and communicate so that I can now do unification and organize and get people together. If you can, I'll use the example of Sylvia. Sylvia, if you can, as you grow, as you develop your own expertise, there are many, you're in an industry that has so many quacks, you know that. You are in the quack kingdom, right? You can get to a point where you are the trainer of these other managers. And it can end up being that they actually pay you more, you earn more from training them than from even running your own company. I don't know whether this makes sense. Or
it does.
You are at a point where you have so much experience, you record content on YouTube with ideas that people can't find anywhere else, right? About the industry. And these people start watching, and those videos are available there perpetually. The next 10 years, explaining how to onboard a client, a diaspora client, right? And earn their trust and have them send money to you to manage their product without them seeing you. There are lessons you've learned, those bloopers, those mistakes. I'm sure if I ask you, like, what has been the most expensive mistakes, those mistakes carry so much wisdom in them that nobody can pay you for that wisdom, right?
Yes, yes.
Who else has run business? Yeah, Eunice, you've run a couple of, Eunice Muturi, you've run a couple of businesses, right?
Well, I can say I have tried many businesses, not run.
Did you just have to go there? Thank you for making me laugh. Thank you, Eunice. That's yeah, that's that honesty. You are grappling with reality as it is, and yeah. Thank you for that. The businesses that most frustrate, for example, in your situation, the businesses that most frustrated you, it's a lot of the times probably would be something that is requiring you to cross to a level that you're not yet ready for, or you don't have enough results to believe that the effort you're putting in is going to pay when you get to that level that you're trying to stretch to, right? Eunice, we'll come back to you in a bit. Let me finish the remaining bits. Whose have I not read? To get the level of imagination, one is operating at identity. That's true. We spoke about that. I'm currently at the level of implementation, committed to the next level of unification. To get the level of imagination, but for me, the gauge whether I'm moving towards imagination, I should check the resource time required. Implementation is a comfort zone that you can never leave. That's right. That was by Frida. You are always implementing. All the other levels are stacked on your implementation. You are always implementing. This chat is always available. If you log into the meetings, even if we are not here, you will still be able to see the chat. Thank you for sharing those chats. Let's, so we are now on top of the hour. We'll have about 20 something minutes to talk to someone. Any volunteer for a hot seat? I'm crossing my fingers that somebody will surprise me. Somebody will surprise us. Volunteer for hot seat? Eunice, did you want to continue or you would like to chill for now?
Today I want to listen.
Are you trying to listen or are you listening? All right, thank you, Eunice.
I don't know.
Yes, I'm going to have two people here in quick succession. We'll start with James. James Mogire of Wambu Creations. Are you able to unmute, James?
Present.
Fantastic. Yes. Fantastic. What level are you operating at, James?
I'm not sure how to answer that question.
Tell me two problems you're solving right now, currently.
What problems am I solving?
Or just narrow down to one problem, like one problem you are solving. Let's take which activities are you performing most consistently? Look at those, the activities that take a bulk of your time. What are they directed towards?
Well, the activities that have been taking up.
Go ahead.
Those activities are related to mostly. Those activities have been related to, well, learning graphic design and finding a few clients here and there. Apart from that, I spend a lot of time reading and studying.
I want to touch on that second part. Can you tell me what's you're reading and studying? What's the difference?
Studying is mostly related to the medical practice, the field, and reading is when I take on other books. For example, one of the books I'm reading is How to Read a Book. Yeah, and another one is on writing well. So those are the kind of books I read on the side when I'm focusing on reading.
So it's if I have a video in the spot where you do these mental activities, how would I know that you are now reading and not studying? Or you're now studying and not reading?
But I guess there's no difference at the end of the day, since everything I read, the end goal is to apply and use it to make myself better than I was before.
Yeah. I'm asking you that because I know you are in healthcare, right?
Yes.
It's impossible to read the material that you need in healthcare. It's impossible to read. Your default for everything, this is my recommendation to you, your default to everything should be studying. And the first, I want you to take a guess. What would be the single most important resource for you to study? You being in healthcare. It is your mind. And this is what I mean, that before you take up a book to read about malaria, you take pen and paper and outline the key things you know about malaria. And the more you do it, the next time you come back to it, you don't focus on the basics, you try to focus on the finer points. So that if you're going to open a book, you're opening a book to fill up some gap. If you know everything about malaria, when you pick a book about malaria, you can skip that chapter completely and never have to go back to it. Or instead, focus on maybe pick a journal and you have to have a specific question. It's for someone, if I were able to go back to 23, 24, where you are now, that's one of the switches that I would make. You have a lot of the times we read things that we already know, right? Or we don't walk away with sufficient new learning to justify spending an hour holding a book in my hands. And I'm recommending this to you, particularly knowing the journey you are on, knowing the pathway that you are on. One of the assignments I want to suggest to you, because I know from 2020, from the first time that I interacted you during the first breakthrough challenge that you were on, graphic design has always featured. Can you make graphic design one of the areas where you will do the ideas? And if graphic design is this persistent in your life, it needs to come to a point of paying by the time that is someone distracting you. Maybe we return later.
There's some bit of background noise on my side.
Oh, we are not hearing it. Yeah, we are not hearing it. Yeah, I was just making sure. Graphic design has been part of your life this long, right? It just feels like this is I will speak to you the third week of April, but by the third week of April, you should already have done that assignment and done it and gotten to at least 70 ideas about graphic design. About 70 ideas. So I will talk to you about that time about it. Let's go back to the think about the problem you're solving. Let's go with Kulo. Jack. Think about it. I'll come back to you in a minute. Is Jacqueline Kulo on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic.
Good.
Let's go. What problem are you solving?
Currently, I'm trying to rebuild my business. It's in the clothing industry. So basically, the idea is to dress plus size women.
What problem are you solving for them?
I find that plus size women are forced to wear. Okay, the idea is when you're well dressed, it boosts your confidence. I just find as a lady, I'm able to put my best foot forward when I'm confident when I leave the house. So originally it was that plus size women are forced to wear clothes that have not been, no one has put a thought to. It's just something baggy, something that they'll throw on, something that will cover everything. So the idea is to get them as stylish as possible so that they build that confidence from when they are leaving the house so that they can put their best foot forward. I don't know if that's clear.
Why should a plus size woman
I don't know if I'm able to communicate what's in my mind.
Why should a plus size woman buy from you and not somebody else selling exactly the same thing?
Other than just having the clothes, I'm able to connect to the person and style them for what they are doing and what their vision is.
How do you connect with them?
I take my time and talk to them. I'm still at the level able to give them time.
What do they care most about beyond the clothes? What it's I'm trying to get to you are trying to rebuild the business, right?
Yes.
So do you have a timeline when you will start doing it? And
okay, the reason why I say trying to rebuild the business, because at one point it was doing very well.
And then
yeah, it came down. So now
what happened? What happened?
I lost focus at one point. So I was not paying attention to the details.
What details did you not pay attention
to? Like the accounting area, the way the people on my team were delivering the services and what they were doing that was not correct. So that
which of these things
down.
I'm sorry, it will probably feel like I'm interrupting you a lot. It's because I'm trying to move so that to get you to the meat of what we need to talk about. Which of those things, one or two of those things hurt the business the most? It can't be all of them. What hurt the business the most?
When I dropped the ball when it came to following up on the accounts.
By the accounts, are you referring to individual customers, or were you doing business to business or business to customer?
When I say accounts, I mean looking at the finances, the money that was coming in versus the money that was going out. Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's my perception then is that you did not have a system, or if you had a system, it was not implemented systematically, which means you didn't have a system.
I agree.
So what are you doing differently now?
putting the systems in place now, making sure that whatever needs to be documented is documented, whatever records are kept in place, paying attention to the sales.
Are you selling directly, or are you selling online? Are you selling in a store?
Currently, I'm doing it online.
Are you advertising, or is it word of mouth, or is it cold calling? How are you getting your customers?
I advertise, I boost my posts on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I do I am not very good at cold calls. I do what I'm going to call cold calls via WhatsApp. So I'll send the customers images of what is available. And what else do I do? And then there's a lot of word of mouth. And I have recurring clients.
How serious are you about growing that business this year?
Serious, very serious.
How many clients have you spoken to on phone in this last week?
This last 2 weeks actually has not gone well because I had visitors from the diaspora.
All right, so
there was a lot of distraction.
I want you to hold it there, right? I want you to think about the reasons, whatever the reasons are, and just don't tell us the reasons. Tell us what level was the barrier at. Whatever happened that caused you to fail in your business, just tell us what level it was. Was it at the level of environment? Was it your behavior? Was it your capacity? Was it your beliefs? Was it your identity or your core?
I'll go with behavior.
Mm-hmm. Just expound so that I can understand.
Okay, we're talking about this last 2 weeks, or we are talking about the
last 2 weeks,
the business going down?
The last 2 weeks, how many clients have you spoken to?
Not many. So I'll go with
Why?
behavior because I allowed myself to be highly distracted by the presence of people in my house.
Is it that you allowed yourself to be distracted, or you allowed them to distract you?
I could have refused to be distracted.
Yes, which would
I
have
mean,
been
they could have tried to distract me and I refused to be distracted. So I'm thinking,
when you don't refuse to be distracted, so you are no longer, you no longer have control of your behavior. You are now outside behavior because you did not assert your behavior.
Sorry, repeat that, please. I didn't understand.
The visitors showed up and they took over, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The visitors could have come and you could still, so if it was at the level of behavior, you could have still continued calling your clients in the evenings for 30 minutes, you know. Does that make sense? Either way, you are at the level of behavior and environment, which is outward. This is, I don't like this kind of hot seat because it's really hot. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Jacqueline. Yeah, I'm really sorry. You have a business that requires heart. If you are selling to plus size men and you text them, I would be like, your business is going to do okay. You are dealing with women. You are selling to them on the basis of emotion. They feel uncomfortable when they wear things that don't look good on them, right? How many words are you going to type on a text to communicate and portray emotion to female clients? You said earlier that you are not good with cold calling. That is a signal for you to become good at cold calling, which means because you're not good at cold calling, it is time to start doing cold calling. And you don't need to start with new clients. just call your regular clients, the ones who buy regularly from you. If they buy from you today, you don't text them tomorrow. You call them tomorrow. You're like, hey, did you try it? Did it fit you? Are you sure? Between these and the last one I sold you, which one did you like better? You initiate conversations. Call the current you see. Make sure, like, that would be for me advice that I would give you. If you are serious about, you are in a market that is unique. These are women who become loyal because you know their body, you know what fits them. They have allowed you a level of intimacy that they don't allow other people, right? Once they have one piece of cloth from you, their door is open. But if you don't walk through that door, somebody else is going to walk through that door. Exactly. I know it's your first time on the hot seat. I'm sorry. We want that business to grow this year. Everybody want. Can I see some yeses? How many people want Jacqueline's business to grow? Type in the chat box. How many people? I want us just say why. Just yes or why. Do you see that, Jacqueline? All right.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Okay. All right. And I would like you now, people on the chat box, let's go. Do you want her to call or not call? If you want her to call, type call. If you want her to not call, say not call. Call or not call? Let's see. Call, please. Call her, call and call. Call. Right? You are plus size women in Kenya, in Africa generally, plus size women have the biggest struggles. Just speak to any plus size woman who has ever been part of a wedding lineup and ask her the struggles when she shows up on the day of the wedding and the garments have been prepared, but they don't feed her. She was supposed to be on the line, but she's no longer on the line just because of that. You are selling emotion. You are not selling clothes. You are selling emotion. You cannot text emotions. Even if you use emojis, still they don't communicate the emotions. You have to connect with these clients, Jacqueline. We need a commitment from you. This entire group needs a commitment from you. How many of your clients are you going to call daily for the next 20 days? Daily. How many do you want to call? You choose. We don't choose for you. We are making you the commander of your actions. You are going to command your actions. You're going to call them. How many do you choose to call every day?
Five. Can I start with 5?
Yep, you can start with 5. How many clients would you be happy with if they bought from you every day? Like how many sales every day would you be happy to have from women just calling you and making an order? How many would you want?
Ideal situation? At least not less than 6.
Jacqueline, your barrier right now is not financial, it's emotional. I have this entire time, I'm just trying to understand what is the emotional barrier. What is the fear with calling these clients? Now we are going all in. It's because I didn't expect it to get this hot, but it's gotten hot. What's the barrier? And everybody in the call just have to forgive me. We are talking to Jacqueline now. What's the barrier?
Maybe the fear of rejection, which I don't understand how I don't understand how it comes in, because once someone comes to me, I am able to, for lack of a better word, I'm going to say I'm able to rope them in and I'm able to connect.
Okay.
But when picking up the phone to call, I feel like I'm entering, I am, like when someone calls me about something, I feel like I was doing something else and why are you calling me about this now? So I am not sure if I'm doing it at the right time. I feel like I'm interfering in their space. They don't want to hear about clothes right now. So, but I feel that if I send a text, you will read it when you're ready to read it, and then you can chat back and we continue. That's just how I visualize it.
I'm listening. We want your business to succeed this year, right? You picked 5, but your ideal is 6, right? When you call, you don't get 100% conversion, okay? You don't get 100% conversion. Is that yes?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
But because I can hear the but, but it's just stuck in your throat. Just say the but. I can hear it. It wants to come.
I chose 5, I think, I'm still working from the place of fear.
All right. So
I think that's why I chose 5.
All right. You chose 5, and then you said you would like 6 to buy from you, right? And how many people do we have on the call? So everybody on the call, so there are 26 people in here. So 26 plus 5 plus 6, that comes to 30, right? We will not ask you to call 30. We'll just ask you to call half of those for the next 10 days. You call 15 people the next 10 days. If any day you call, you don't get 15 no's, you have to call a few extra people to see whether you can get to 15 no's. Your business is going to grow on the fertilizer of no. You know, no is nitrous oxide. Those clothes will really, really go far with nitrous oxide. If you don't get 10 no's, you need to make extra calls. Let me give you an example. It's in recruiting, those of you who joined, those who are in the Momentum Challenge, in recruiting you to join this group, I put out an advert that attracted about 580 people. Out of those 580 people, only about 40 or 45 people were willing to join. And many of them could have joined if I had continued following up with them. And some of you have actually called you on the phone or texted you to follow up. The no is not feedback to you. It's feedback to your strategy. You just need, the next time you call, actually, do you have your phone there? Are you using your phone or are you using a laptop?
I'm using my phone.
Do you have, okay.
I'm using my phone.
Yeah, all right. So I would like you to call Sylvia. You're not calling her physically, but we want you to act for us here on the call. Just call Sylvia. She doesn't have to answer. No, just hold the phone. Hello, Jacqueline. How are you? I'm so glad you came yesterday for your clothes. I thought you would take the orange one. How did the blue one turn out? You need to record this thing down and practice it to the point when you are speaking to the customer, you are not concerned about the words you are speaking. You're building a business. You're building a business that can pay you 200,000 a month, 300,000 a month very easily. And that's because you're dealing with clients who will be willing to spend any amount of money when they find somebody who feels them. They will not feel you from text. If they can't feel your heart, I see your heart. I see the kind of woman you are. If they can connect with you and feel your heart, you care about them, but you care about them to the point of not calling them because you are so worried that you're going to interrupt their life. interrupt their life, what? You are bringing them a solution that they need. Without you, they cannot be confident. Without you, they will show up in those functions feeling uncomfortable. But because of you facing your own discomfort, you are going to make some women show up for functions, show up for interviews, and actually be confident and serve clients and help people just because of what you've done. You will not continue sitting on your talent. You have the talent, the ability to connect with them. If you need a script, you get a script down and study that script, right? If it's a script, you're like, hello, how are you? Just go through it, verbalize it until it's right here. So that the next time now when you start speaking with them, it's no longer the words. You are trying to get what is down here to come out and they feel it and connect with them. Be the voice that shows up for them. When they think about clothes, they think about Jacqueline. Okay, Jacqueline. Bye, I'm gonna get you off. Yeah, I didn't, did not intend for that. Let's finish with James. James Wambu Mugwe. Wambu Creations Limited. www.jameswambucreations. James, who are you serving?
I do not have a particular, well, I'm serving currently anyone that has a need.
That's the first problem. That's the first problem, and we will be finishing up with you. You need to solve a specific problem. Do you know Fiverr.com?
Yes.
Do you have a profile on Fiverr.com?
I do have a profile. I
What product are you offering?
Still setting it up, but it's.
Are you still setting it up, or are you still trying to set it up?
Trying to set it up.
Yeah, setting up a Fiverr.com profile shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes. Unless you're talking about the creative side, that can come later. Go to Fiverr.com and offer a specific service. Specific, just one product, and create 3 offerings of the same product. It's either you are designing Facebook covers or Instagram Reels templates or Instagram quote templates, or you're designing book covers for ebooks, or you are doing book, just it has to be a specific product, and you offer it at $5.
Okay.
Start off at $5. That is, it doesn't get any lower than that. But you do a really good job, because at $5, you're going to get so many people ordering. You do a good job and you communicate with these people, ask them to review you, to write good reviews for you. If you get 10 good reviews, 10 5-star reviews, you qualify for level 1 of Fiverr.com. And now you are doing graphics that you get feedback on. Otherwise, if you keep designing graphics in the house all by yourself in the corner, you don't know whether you have something that the market would actually give you, buy from you. We are getting you at the level of implementation to actually implement, so that soon you can pick 2 or 3 other students from around the country, maybe Nairobi, and create Wambu Creations design agency and start unifying their talent together. James.
Yes.
Today is hot seat stuff. I don't know what has been happening. Is it me, or it's what's going on? James.
Yes.
I have heard about graphics from you. I believe if this is something that is going to stay this long, I think it has value. Let's see what value we can squeeze out of it. If you're not getting that value out of it, maybe it's time to drop it and pick something else that you actually will go deep in. James, do you know one of the single most valuable graphic design elements right now? It's called caption creation. If you were passionate about video and you started creating captions for videos online, you would get to the point where you actually have to suspend any new orders because you have so many orders in tow. If you go on social media right now, every video you see with captions. Creation of those captions is very complex for most people, but that's something that you can actually that can be done. So there's a lots of value in this area. There's lots of value in this area. You can create a profile so big that you end up, your name still remains there, but now you have a team that is working for you. James, in 2 years from today, graphics online, you can earn 2 million Kenyan shillings from graphics online every month. And I'm not playing about it. It's a question of whether it's this you pick or you pick something else, but you go deep. You pick that one narrow thing and really, really, really go deep. Ladies and gentlemen, we are almost 15 minutes over time. That was day 52 of the 90-day breakthrough challenge, meeting number 8.